Hello, Hailey.
Hi. Hi,
How
hi,
are
hi,
you? Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to have you on Inside the Industry.
hi. Of course. I'm excited to be here.
I mean, my
So,
God.
I have to say though, because I remember thinking that I was like, Rachel needs a YouTube when we worked together.
You are stupid.
I was like, Rachel needs a YouTube, and now you have
No.
a podcast, it's
Listen,
wonderful.
it's because I can't shut my mouth. So I was like, where can I go and talk and then let it be an okay thing to do? And I was like, oh, a podcast, a forum. That's good. That'll work. You can't tell me, like, why are you just talking all the time? It just says, oh, it's my job. That's what it is. I am so excited. I haven't seen you basically since working with you, and your life has just, baby, you're out. You are out. You are doing all the things. For those that do not know you, you are an actress, singer. She's done Broadway, honey. She's gotten into the TV world. I mean, I feel like everyone and their mother knows you. How do they not at this point? I mean, how did that feel for you, Hailey? You were so young. Give me the exact age when you basically got told you're going to be playing Ti Moune on Broadway for Once on This Island.
I mean, yeah, so backtracking really, everything has been a complete whirlwind for me. I've loved theater since I was a little kid because my parents were both in the theater industry and world. And so I had started working very young, and I knew that I wanted to go to college. The one thing I said, because I already had my equity card and I was already, I could just go do the thing.
Whoa, honey, what? You already had it? Why? How did you get an equity card?
I was a freshman, sophomore in high school.
Yes.
And no, I was a junior when I was a junior. I just told a lie. I was a junior in high school.
Still so young. What's happening?
So, yeah, and I was working in equity houses, and I was lucky because I was doing shows in rep. So I had all of the EMC hours to get my card.
Yes.
So yeah, I was doing the thing and going to high school, at the same time. And I was working so much that it got to the point where I was doing high school online because I would be in theater all day.
Yes.
And so I got to graduate high school early, and I was in New York by the time I was 17, which that's young.
That's very
Looking
young.
back now, like I'm almost, I'll probably be 22 by the time this airs. Like 17 is really young.
Yeah.
To come here by yourself. I didn't come here with my parents. I was alone.
Huge jump.
And yeah, I went to college early, and I was doing the thing, and I had it in my mind that I was gonna do the waitressing thing or just have to grind it out and try.
Sure.
And that was a very strong, because my parents were in the industry, that was a very strong reality for me. It's not gonna be like, I'm in New York and like I'm gonna, be on Broadway. And it's
a little more realistic with the process, at least. You didn't be like naively, I have this dream. It's like you kind of knew I might be setting myself up to really put in some time and hours. I mean, listen, as we all do, but also, I mean, we all know how your story went. Let's go.
It's just, I knew I had, this is what I knew. And what I still remind myself, even though I'm like doing the thing, right, is I have the training. I've been training for this intensely since I was 9 years old.
Yes.
I've been in front of audiences since I was 9 years old, thousands of people. And so what I remind myself, one, I have to keep training. I'm not just there. I haven't just made it.
Ongoing, totally.
Right. You have to know that you have to do the work.
Right.
And so it was just a very realistic thing for me. And I remember my acting mentor, Kevin Jones from the August Wilson Red Door Project, had come to New York, and he was working on a few things, and he works with Kenny Leon and a bunch of incredible people. And he was like, you're gonna do it and you're gonna be okay. We had gone to get pizza. We went to Amadeus Pizza. Sitting there, and I was like, well, I gotta go back to class because I could walk to 61st from there. And I get this phone call from Telsey. And like everybody who's in New York who wants to be an actor knows who Bernie Telsey is. So I get a call from his office, and
were you aware this was who was calling you, or were you like, what's going on?
No, I had no idea. I was like,
I always pick up phone calls. You never know who's calling you.
People for real. And the thing was, I since I have an Oregon phone number. It was like, when it said New York, I was like, I really thought it was probably my school.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
I'm coming.
Hello. And they called and they said, hi. I think it was Tiffany called me from his office and said, hi, Pumpkin.
The baby.
My dog, sorry, my dog. She said, hi, I'm Tiffany and I work at Telsey, and do you know who that is? And I was like,
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes, hello, yes. And she told me basically Michael Arden is doing this revival of Once on This Island. Obviously, every young Black woman in New York City knew that they were looking for Ti Moune, and that they wanted her to be young, and and I remember they had done a New York open call. I believe they did New York last.
Okay.
And I didn't go. My mom told me to go. I had a few teachers that encouraged me to go, and I didn't go because I was like, I need my degree.
Wow. So you were just more, not even like opportunity. You were like, I still just need to finish this. Like, let me do this first, and then opportunities will come.
Yeah, I wanted to continue my intensive training.
Yeah.
And have something to fall back on in the case that with a BFA, you can see.
Very rare. No, 100% though, because I feel like a lot of people, again, it's interesting, and I wonder if that was ingrained in you from a young age, just living and breathing in it, like you said, having your parents be involved in it and seeing the reality of what it looked like, not just smoke and mirrors Hollywood. So you were more like, no, I need direction. I need actual fallbacks. I need reality. And that must have really, young age, Hailey, that's some grounded shit. That's some really deep thinking of how to move through this industry, first of all.
Yeah, it's so interesting now because we have so many, I think at the time, I could be wrong because I'm not in that world. Yeah. We only had like Eva Noblezada, who had done the Jimmys and then became a star. Mm-hmm. We historically speaking, Broadway is not you just show up and here you go, here's everything, know. So I was like, I gotta get this degree. So then I get, about a week and a half later, I get this call from Telsey being like, hey, Rodney Hicks, who I love, who's like my uncle, he who's on Broadway. He was in Come From Away at the time. He was playing Bob. He had given them a video of me singing Home from The Wiz when I was like 16, like in no makeup with a hairbrush. I was singing like with a hairbrush like this in my room.
Oh my God.
And Michael, they said, our director, Michael Arden, would like to see you. And then she goes on to say, also Nikki James and Steve and Lynn will be in, like, she goes to list off who's all going to be in the room. And I'm just like,
I'm not coming.
The woman from Book of Mormon? Like, are you kidding?
I'm sorry? Yeah, exactly.
And that was the other thing. I had to go in the next day.
No.
Because we're emailing you the material. You have to come in the next day.
I was going to say, did they set you up so you could go home and at least practice like a couple of
Yeah, they sent me the packet. And I was like, my first song that I got in college was Waiting for Life. Stop. That was the first thing my musical theater intensive professor gave me. So I was like, okay, I'm supposed to do this. And then I went in and, and it wasn't, and even then it was a very strong reality that it might not happen.
Right.
Now, when you're in musical theater school, you're not allowed to audition for things.
Yep.
So I ended up having to leave school, and I was in New York without a job.
Like completely leave college, meaning?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why aren't you allowed to audition and book things while also seeking an education? Why is it this or that?
I believe that it's because what they want you to do is focus on your studies.
Right. Like, let's do this bag. Okay.
Focus on your studies and get your degree. And unless, it's, and I respect it a lot. I really do.
I hear the understanding, but it is a weird thing too, when you think about it. Cause I know a couple girls, granted, I could count on my hand people that I know personally that have had similar experiences where it's like plucked out of school, fresh out of high school bag, college, mid-college, and then boom, like you had said, you didn't have to do much of the off-Broadway moments or the regional vibe. It was like bim, boom, Broadway. Yeah. And so when you hit that, to take that in, coming into the experience, and I mean, I personally was so thankful and had a wonderful time working with you. And so seeing you in that environment, I was like, it doesn't seem like it's your first time on Broadway. Like, to me, I didn't get that vibe. So I know you didn't get to finish college, but clear with the training, the background, but also then I look at you as the type of person where it's like, you had said, I'm doing this since I was 9. I just feel like it was just meant for you, you know? That was where your path and what was needed that was your trajectory. That was what was supposed to be a part of your first step, clearly.
Yeah.
You feel that?
For me, the role was for me. I mean,
100%.
And that wasn't my first major audition really that I sent in for was for the Wiz Live.
Wow. Okay.
For the Wiz Live, and that was not my first major. Oh gosh, I don't think I've ever talked about this. Wait, my first major not disappointment, but like heartbreak when it comes to auditions, which I had done hundreds of auditions.
Yeah, so many no's before yeses. People always forget. A lot of no's first.
So many. No.
A lot of no's, girl.
I remember my first disappointment. I made it to the top 50 of the X Factor in Seattle the first year it came to America.
Yes.
And because it was the year Melanie Amaro won, who like she's so talented. She's so talented. Melanie, yeah. So I remember the process and the producers and okay, now sing this and and then you get so invested, and my hometown was so invested. There were 5 people from Portland who made it in Seattle, and actually of the 5, then the 2 of us made it to the top 50. Wow. And so I remember everybody in Portland was like, oh my gosh, la, 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 la. And then you get the call that you didn't get it. And I was 13.
It's like just not you in your room being like, okay, I know something that didn't go well for me. It's like a whole team of people, a town backing you. And you were how old when that happened? And that was the thing. I had made the cutoff by a month. I think I had just turned 12. My heart, Hailey. Oh my
God. It was like baby Hailey who like all she wanted to do was sing.
Right.
And they tell you, the first time they tell you no is never easy, and on such a grand scale.
Right.
Like I actually tell myself I'm so lucky that I wasn't on TV and they didn't tell me no on TV, because I think that would have been a different.
Well, people kind of forget. That's kind of like what I was like, oh my God, we have to talk about today, is because my God, I'm 27 years old, and when I get told no, even right now, off of something I'm really vying for and a gig I really want, a job, a position, whatever it is, and I get told no, I need like a day or two of bounce back. Yeah. Because I'm shattered. I'm upset, and I'm like, I know it's not for me. I go through the whole rigmarole, but I'm still upset. So as 12 years old, especially when you had gotten so far and done the thing, and you have all these people, and in your mind, you really, again, you're 12. So you're thinking like, I got this, I'm a superstar. And then when somebody tells you no, it's not 27-year-old, 22-year-old, 21-year-old Hailey going, okay, I'll take that hit. Thick skin, go back at it again. 12 years old, you're like, some people, thankfully it didn't for you, but some, especially girls, I feel like it would chatter me and I'd be like, I'm not good enough. I'm not a good singer. That means I'm bad. I didn't make it. I didn't get the
pretty enough.
Not pretty enough. We go through this whole thing, and it could be so damaging. Right. I'm glad you clearly had a wonderful camp around you that pushed you and was like, nope, sorry, just one knock of many, but it's just, you still need to keep going.
My mom was so funny that day. She had gotten, and that's the amazing thing about my mom, she had actually gotten a call a few days before she told me.
Stop.
And she didn't know how she was, because I really wanted it, and I had been working for it. And she told me, we were in Hawaii. I'll never forget this. We were in Hawaii, and we were getting ready for the school year, because Zakai and I every year would get to make a wish list of things that, we wanted for back to school clothes and stuff. And my mom told me, and I was very upset. And then she said, okay, now we have to get back on the wheel. We have to keep going. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I started getting calls from the Portland Trailblazers. I started getting calls from, really, like, it was just like, and that was her.
Wow.
That was her. She saw, I think that, you know, she was in the room when I got the golden, you know, they give out the golden ticket.
Yeah.
And the producer said, you have a star on your hands. And my mom reminds me of Beyonce's dad a little bit, in that it was like, okay, now you're going to do it, but we're not just going to do it. You're going to train. I didn't go and play with friends after school.
Oh, girl.
I was going to voice lessons, dance, cheer, all of those things, which I loved. Like, I wanted to do anyway.
Right. It's in you. Your passion was already there from a young start. Yep.
But it was like, my mom was like, you're going to train in music theory. No, you don't get, I know you want to be Whitney Houston, but you're also going to train in opera. I started training in opera very young. You typically don't do that because you should have a more developed voice for opera. But it was like, my mom was like, you're going to train. It's like Olympic athletes.
Yeah, she had, and people don't realize, and I know, I mean, again, we've heard 1,000,001 stories as far as success and people coming into the business, but I really do think the people that it's like, if you really look at it, the people that are like stars, you know what I mean? Like these people that have like, I think of the Beyoncés, I think of and you realize at what a young age the grooming, and not like a bad grooming, not like a stage mom, but just a grooming to understand like kids do need to be pushed, and kids need that nurturing and the guidance, especially when you're a young girl being like, oh, well, I love to sing and it's my passion, but mom knows business. Mom knows the business side of what I'm prepping you to get into, knowing, well, yes, honey, it's stars and fun and whatever, but it's a business.
Like you can wear the pretty dress.
Yes.
You can wear the pretty dress, but you also have to go out there and sing.
Right.
So, and it's so funny now that I have a stylist.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where it's like, okay, I know my pretty dress is over there. I have to go out and perform.
Right.
That's all that, like, I got to focus on that. And that's the
glamour. And now I need the actual, it's almost like, I mean, yeah, the talent. I need the core thing that has even got me there in the first place.
Right.
Because we do see a lot I love seeing the evolution of artists when like they're starting out and then their glam and their, you know, everything evolve. It just does. It's natural. It is what it is. And I live for it, because then we all live like your highest form of like dress up, where you come into your style, you have the money and the opportunity to dress up and play and do what you want to do. So your person, and I feel like all of us have this, if we reach fame or not, or we in the business or not, I think everyone has that within themselves of like, who their inner like, you know, dress up is, or how they want to vibe and what's best for them, hair, makeup, clothes, whatever it is, to express themselves, right? It's a form of expression. So it's, I mean, obviously as a makeup artist, I live for the glam moments. I love seeing what you guys pull, and even watching you grow from Hailey, God, just from Once on This Island to seeing you step into yourself now. And I mean, yeah, 22, but I look at you, you're an adult. Yes, a young adult, but you're an adult. You have a very, very, straight head on, you know what I mean? And you just, even during quarantine and seeing you posting, and I was like, she's really, and I think you did even like throw a post out being like, she's knowing herself now, like boom, out of her shell, like here I am. Yeah. Did you feel, was this the year for you where you kind of felt like that deep wave, which I know it will come again because I've experienced it, and I think women, we always have that tip after 25 where we go through it again of like, oh, I found out another whole layer of myself and another one and another one. But are you in that early stage of like, oh, here I am?
I think so. I think I'm willing to not know all of the answers.
Totally.
And I think one of the things that you have to learn, especially when you're, I mean, look, I did Broadway and I was a teenager.
Right.
Still.
Right.
Like, I remember I went to dinner with Leia Salonga one night, who was in our show.
A literal legend.
We were talking about Saigon because I was like, how did you do it?
Right.
Like, at 18, how were you doing that? Her mom was there.
Oh, yeah.
Her mom was there. And I was like, wow, that's a huge component of things. So I think the first 2 years I was in New York, I would still like call my mom and ask for permission to like do things.
Am I allowed to go out? It's like past my
like people are sneaking into bars and like they're telling me to come and like
right.
Come get me. Like it's just like, oh my God. And it's I also struggle with and I still struggle with it, because I was playing a 14 through 16-year-old girl.
I was gonna say,
I am viewed and treated as such. And we see this with everybody. We saw it with Miley. We saw it.
All the Disney stars, people
right,
that
Disney,
they know
Keke Palmer, like Keke Palmer's a great one because she was Aquila in Aquila and the Bee, and everyone wanted her to still be that little girl with.
You're right.
You know, is that even Zendaya, who Zendaya is a prime example of a young person who has kind of aged into a new thing with Euphoria.
100%.
But she still, people are like, well, how dare you be? How dare you be? And so what I had to decide in this last year is, okay, I'm an adult. I don't need to prove that I'm an adult to anybody. Nope. I don't need to prove it. Like I just am.
Literally doing it. I'm growing it.
I can go get a glass of wine if I would like to.
Yes, I am legally.
And you know, it's I'm so much more open to discovering who I am and discovering what my flaws are.
Rather than the holding back. It's almost like moving in a tiptoe sense in your own life. In your own life, where it's like, it's almost like you don't realize it. Because again, at this rate, and I would put you in that category, you are 100% a public figure. Not only on social media, but I mean, you are, just for the intensity how our world is, just with not only your following, the people that simply can look at you, view your day to day, if you hop on or do something, that are going to tune in and want to listen to what Hailey's got going on and saying, it's there. So that's established, and if anything will only continue to grow. So it gets tricky where it's like, if you're aware of that and it's like, okay, I have eyes on me now, it does. I mean, I like that you're saying you do have to come into that empowerment stage of being like, regardless of the eyes on me, regardless of all these things, I still have to do and live my life authentically to me, not be shamed for it at any point in time, because we're still going to make a ton of mistakes. A ton.
The thing is, you have to.
Oh my God.
We don't make the mistakes, especially in our 20s.
Right. Like, these are the years.
Because the thing is, so now I'm with, I work with, I mean, something else that I noticed about myself was I was always surrounded with people who are much older than I. A lot of my friends are in their 30s.
Yep.
That's just,
it like speeds you up a little bit, but it also is like, oh wait, I'm still one. Let me live that. Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm like, okay, I need to do this shit now and figure it out now because it's inexcusable.
It is. It's weird how the culture of our life, like, it's once you kind of hit that 30, 40, it's like we're supposed to know it by then or have the experience and time behind us to just not make certain mistakes. Not still won't be mistakes, but certain ones.
Yeah, it's and it's not that it's not okay to make mistakes when you're older.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
But
and do you feel like, I guess the better question too is, like you had said, with you playing Ti Moune, and she's young, innocent. I mean, watching you play her, it really is just this young, bubbly, this babe, so innocent, baby. Yeah. And so then when you're now getting into your adolescent, like young adolescence, but still like in your 20s, you're a grown woman, you're out there in the city, living your life, doing what you need to do, experiencing new people and things. Have you ever gotten direct like backlash, either from fans or people? And then what do you do when you get that? What have you had? Yeah, all the time?
Yeah. I mean, it was happening during Once on This Island.
Interesting. See, it's like that yet.
And now there's two sides to that. There's a business element to it.
Of course.
Which, like, that's we could talk about that. But also there's this element of, because I was so young, it was, I was in an interesting scenario where I was young, but I knew what to do.
Right.
For the most part, because I had been working. And so there was a lot of you should have just, or you need to just, or why wouldn't you just? And it was like I said, I was a teenager.
Right.
There would be times where I would be like, everybody shut up.
Yeah. 100%.
Everyone shut up.
So many voices and I know.
And like, let me figure it out.
Yeah.
I had to have conversations with, even Alex and I had a conversation about like, and Alex could relate because he did Glee.
Right. He had been through it. Yeah, she's referring to Alex Newell. Yeah, 100%. Yep.
It was like, and so Alex would really look at me and be like, no, what I need you to understand is I know.
Right. I'm aware of what's going on.
And what I want to remember, it's so funny because now I'm on a show where the star of our show is 19 years old.
Crazy.
He just turned 19, and I see and I hear certain things.
Yep.
And when I left my show, I made the decision, when I left Once on This Island,
yes,
I made the decision that if I am ever in a scenario where I have a young person who is like, that's the other thing. I was the lead of the show. I wasn't just like 18, like trying to do a show.
Right. It's a very different scenario when you were a lead at that young age as well. Very different dynamic. Yeah.
It's all on you.
Pressure. Yep.
I mean, there was Tony Award pressure.
I know.
There was just be good in general to do
it.
I had to behave.
Oh yeah, outside too. Because mind you, now you're a role model and you are the face of Once on the Island.
My face was on the side of the building for over a year and a half.
Right.
Like, and then that's the thing. That's the other thing that I don't want, and that's the goal that I have for myself now is as I go on, and people do start recognizing who I am.
Yes.
In a year, I did Broadway, Steven Spielberg, Respect, and now I'm on one of the top Black TV shows in the US.
Yep.
As people start to know my name, I cannot. The first day I saw Tony Award nominee on my picture outside the theater, more work has to be done.
Totally.
I don't ever want to get to a place where I'm so comfortable that it's, well, you should just love and respect me because I'm me.
Right.
That doesn't do anything for you. It might get you into the club. You might get a VIP table.
Right.
I've done that. It's cool.
Style recognition, but that also, it dies out.
It can, and it can all go away.
Right. It can all go away overnight, and that's the thing. And I love that about you, Hailey. It's so well said, because even with the recognition and that you've gotten already, because like I said, to me, we're at the literal just tip of an iceberg for your career and what we're about to see of you. I think it's going to be a phenomenal thing if I check back with you even in a year or two from now and being like, okay, and now, X, Y, and Z. I'm just so excited. But it's wild for you to be so aware. And I think that is the biggest thing with young, successful stars and artists, that it's like you have to know that these are, yes, things and accolades and accomplishments that are going to come along the way, a lot of recognition. But don't let that trip you up, and don't let that get you to be comfortable in all the still climbing work and honing of your craft that you'll have to do for each and every new opportunity that comes across your desk, because it will ever be changing. And you in and of yourself, this is what always the biggest topic for me on this is when it's younger artists we're speaking about, is Hailey's going to change and grow.
Right.
So automatically your expectations, or what I guess the world has expectations of on you because of how they're seeing you in certain roles or at times in their life, it's like, you got to let me evolve the way I'm going to evolve. It's almost like a very toxic relationship. With people that are like, don't change, don't be that. And you're like, I have to.
Why are you doing that? Right, exactly. I remember when I made the choice to say I had a boyfriend, and people were like, but you're supposed to be 12. And I'm like,
I am physically not 12, guys.
But it's like, it's very, and that's what's going to be interesting about being on Power.
Yes.
People are so used to seeing me as a princess, and and young and and with Power, it's so funny because I asked the universe, I told my agents, I said, I'm so tired of playing the young,
just a very pure little bit, like she's very cheeky, and I don't know the word. It's like that certain word, but it's very I could pinch your cheeks kind of vibe.
Right.
Just the love, like the cherub of the show.
I did Ti Moune
Yes.
And then, I mean, my Steven Spielberg show came out after, but then I went into that, which Tuca was an amazing role. But then I went into Rapunzel from Into the Woods, who's another like
The Hollywood Bowl.
kind of here, and I'm kind of just like, and I let men treat me like garbage, but like here we are. And it was like, I remember I got so mad because I kept getting asked to play these characters that are important. No character isn't important.
Yeah, there's always a story.
But for me, for my personal growth, I think you grow as you connect to a character and you learn more about yourself. I was like, I need to learn this grittier side of myself.
Yeah, because you also don't want to get stuck in all these roles. And then before you know it, which again, Hailey, your awareness, my dear, because, and I feel like some people might be like, no, it's like as we get older, they're like, listen, live in those younger roles, especially as a woman like in the industry. It's like keep all those younger roles as long as you can, because then once you hit that certain gap, or once they start viewing you as, you know, you've tipped over the edge of now you're older and you get only cast.
You're 30 and now you're old. Okay.
It's crazy to me. It's crazy. But I like that you're like, you know what, screw that. Screw the trajectory or what people usually do as far as, okay, well, I'm young, so I have to be traditionally in all these roles. It's like, I'd rather start diversifying myself as what and who and I can play, showing you all the angles of what I'm capable of now. So that way all these doors start to open for me versus just keeping in this one lane until I stop and then another lane. You have open doors right now for yourself because you're capable of so much.
I'm very blessed to be in this position where people are going to see me in more. I think Carolyn Franklin is another dynamic and different character that people will see. And in Jukebox, it's like Jukebox is like there's a spectrum. Okay. I lived in like the prince, like literally, I mean, they're turning Ti Moune into a Disney princess, actually. Like Disney is making. So I've been in this princess mode for most of my career, even when I was doing shows.
Get out of too, let me tell you.
Right, it's hard to get out
of the Disney like Jasmine's and whatever. And let me tell you, especially how you were saying when you were playing Ti Moune and how you have to put yourself out there on the streets. I know Disney is strict, honey. They probably won't love that I say that, but Disney is strict as far as how you represent yourself outside of that theater, especially if you're a woman and a princess. Let me tell you.
I did an ABC pilot, and ABC is under, they're under Disney, and they have a very strict policy. I mean, and we were going to be a first family of this mega church and and so I had to carry you know, if our show got picked up, I was going to have to carry myself in a manner where, you know, and it was like, do I really want to do that?
I know. Good for you, babe. I love that.
Yes, Rachel, you know me. You know I got that little rebellious thing in me too. I'm like, do I really want to do that?
Y'all are telling me I have to do this one thing, so it's really gonna make me want to do all these things.
Exactly.
I feel like we all have it. It's just you being a strong, powerful woman, being in your own power and living.
But there's a way to do that with respect. There's a way to do that with respect.
Thank you.
And integrity.
Yes. Which also, because keep in mind, people, it's when we're speaking about what you're saying, by putting your foot down or making sure that the trajectory of your career goes the way that you'd like to, as much as you can control it, you will, and protecting yourself and being smart. But exactly that. There's a way to move. And you've done it so gracefully, though I mean, you're always going to have haters. You're always going to have people judging you. Unfortunately, that's life, especially when you are a public figure and you're in the business. Sure, it kind of comes with the territory, unfortunately. But it is crazy that doesn't always mean be a bitch, be rude, be loud, be mean.
You don't.
To get your way, you don't have to be this like diva to control a room and a presence. You can get all the things you want and need and respect without doing all that.
Well, and look, I actually think, being completely honest, I think I'm so good at it because I actually didn't do it the right way my whole career.
See, that's the baby. You have to. Same. I've made some pause, honey, where I'm like, oh, that was really bad of you, Rachel. You should have gotten maybe fired for that one, or like bad move. But
no, exactly. Where it's like you have to, and that's where I think I was lucky in that I was 18.
Right. We got the kind of, okay, you're naive young card.
You did that because you're.
Yes.
And the thing is I have had experiences where there's two components of it that I'm learning. Mm-hmm. I am a Black woman in this business.
Thank you. Yep.
I walk into a room and I am a Black woman.
First and foremost, this is
first and foremost.
Yep, unfortunately.
One of the things that I'm a versatile enough actor and artist that I walk into rooms sometimes where I'm the only Black person.
Yep.
And
period. When we're talking about casting and people direct, right, looking at you.
Right.
You're in a sea of, 100%.
And the reality of the business is this. There are so many young, white, someone who I think of immediately is Renee Rapp.
Oh my God, I love it. She's in this
so talented and so with it and so, and obviously we know that she's starring in a TV show now.
I know, yeah.
She's starring in with a great team, so it's like, the reality for me is I have to be outstanding.
Yeah.
I have to be the overachiever. I have to be, because unfortunately, that's the reality of the business.
Yeah. Especially it's like, okay, yeah, we're moving forward. But again, we live in a very biased, privileged, sometimes very nepotism period, and just getting in certain rooms. And like you said, just based off of what our world and how we are systematically set up, you already are 10 steps behind, just as far as how many more people you have to prove yourself to, your success, your talent, your name, what you're capable of, because they've already put you in this fun little box right here. And they want to keep you there, or keep putting you in these fun little boxes that they assume you of being a woman of color. Boom, she's a Black woman, this is what she can do. This is what we'll use her for. These are the things this is great. But it's like, okay, no. And I'm going to break down these walls and stereotypes and other things that you've projected on me or created for me, boxed me in basically as well, and allotted me to say, I can't have these opportunities. I can't be seen. I can't get paid this much. I can't have this leading role. And I can't do all these things.
But even in Black shows.
Right. I know.
The system will intentionally set you up to be pitted against each other.
Yep.
Pay.
Yep.
Placement.
All
of those things.
Looks, what you have.
Colorism,
really, it's all a thing. There's just so many. One of my favorite, all-time favorite talk shows is literally Red Table Talk, and I love when they talk about colorism. You saw that episode when they showed the for the NWA movie, and I could not believe that I'm like, you are putting in categories, literal categories, box categories of what and who they would highlight, and what kind of casting they would need for particularly Black women, and what you needed to look like in order to be the successful, beautiful girls, and then boom, the really poor, ratchet, homeless people. And it was disgusting, the descriptions for casting. And it's real. That's the thing that's so wild. People think oh, what? That's your privilege of either not understanding or not being in those rooms or spaces and having to have experienced that. But it is very much real. Unfortunately, it's still super prevalent. I think we're making strides. But it's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, make no mistake, we are making large strides. I think what I think back the last 10 years. And we have Viola Davis, Cicely Tyson, Regina King, and so many many more. And it's only in the last 10 years. Think about Viola Davis's career.
Honey. And
only in the last 15 years are people Angela Bassett's another big one. Only in the last 10 years are people Viola
Davis.
And it's I remember when she was in King Pegley.
Right. Nobody cared, nobody noticed. And it's okay, thank God, but slept on entirely. And imagine the amount of work she's had to put in and perseverance, her and herself, to be in this career and wait out until she initially popped off, even though, again, she's been working, doing the damn thing. Her talent hasn't waited. That's the unfortunate thing. You're she didn't all of a sudden get good. She's been good.
She's untouchable, and people only just now, and the thing that I'm learning too is, and it's very frustrating, but you have to have patience, is I see culturism.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of white women who are glorified
Yep.
and book work
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, they can live in the Aretha Franklin lane
Yes.
and be exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean they're not talented,
Right.
but they will be put on a very high pedestal and on a very high standard.
Right.
When there are Black women, I mean, another one is like, I mean, even Alex
Yeah.
Newell,
Mm-hmm.
who has an unearthly talent,
Yeah. Insane. Insane.
should be like up there with Whitney.
Yeah, truly, with his vocal range, it's freaking insane. Yeah.
But a white counterpart is light years above him in their career.
Yep. Status, all of that, recognition.
Have to learn how to, in all of that, command respect.
Right.
Which is like, that's why Beyonce said, always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper. Because it's like, but did the check clear?
Exactly. No, but it's so hard. It's so real, Hailey. It's so real because again, there's so many things you have to work against by, like you said, commanding the respect and doing what you needed to do, and then not having to work against what you might get labeled as, and then almost fighting against that label. Like, let's say you get angry, the most stereotypical thing ever is just you're an angry Black woman that just is always, a handful, or always demanding things. You're always needy, you're a nuisance at that rate. It's hard to work with is always a big one. You're just so hard to work with. And it's like, no, because if I demanded all these same things, even you and I, if we were in a room and I sat and said, hey, this is what I need, and then you went ahead and spit the same thing, they would be like, Jesus, Hailey, like really? The expectations of what they assume you need versus what I'm allowed is so different.
What you're expected to ask for.
Right. They're like, you're here, you're in the room, that's enough. You got the gig, that's enough. And it's like, no. You're gonna pay me what I'm also worth. You're gonna do all the things I need. No.
And it's the beautiful thing that you learn though is, so what I've learned is there's more power in, this is what I need and here's why. Here's the solution if I get what I need.
Right.
Period.
And I love that.
Period.
I'm not asking
without being like and I need and blah blah blase wah wah, without just being like, this is what I need, and because unfortunately I have to explain.
Break it down. I know.
The thing, but it's like, you learn how to communicate proper. And then
my therapist taught me all about it.
If they don't do it, it's like,
yes,
I won't sign the contract. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Like, you have to find someone else to do it.
But that's the craziest part, is people are so afraid of not getting booked, being turned away, off of then losing. I don't want to say integrity. I want to go so deep, but I mean, it can be, and depending on what
it is. Yeah.
You taking away your worth and your value when it's there, what you're going to give 100% every day on set. And I need all these things in order to give you and do this. And if you want this, comes with all of that. If you don't want to give me that to get this, that's gone. Go give it with whoever else you need to replace me with.
It's no shade because that means it was value for someone. That means it was for someone else.
Yes.
But it's like,
yes,
we have fortunately come to a place where like Black women can. I think Beyonce went in for a Reebok deal before Ivy Park was with Adidas. Yeah. She went in for a Reebok deal and she looked around the table and they all looked the same. And no attitude, no nothing. She just said, I don't see anyone representing me or people like me or my values.
Right.
And you can tell from this meeting that my values are not your values.
Right.
So I'm gonna go sign a multi-billion deal, the $1 billion deal with Adidas.
Yes.
I'll see you later. Good luck. But the way in which Beyonce communicates with people, I've watched her very closely. Also Alicia Keys. I love how Alicia Keys communicates with people.
Yes.
Because it's very, you have to know your worth,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have to know your ego.
Yes.
Very well.
Which I love what Alicia Keys has come into in her own self, because again, she was one of those where she was like, I'm subdued. I want everyone perceived her as this nice, wholesome, and she is. She's like, that's a part of me. But I also get upset. I get irritated, and I have an attitude like every freaking human being on this entire world that gets irritated or mad about something.
All get mad about things, and okay.
Let me. It's so crazy. I want to kind of ask you, what has been your, biggest thing that you would pass on to somebody else coming up in the industry as a young Black woman getting up into it? What is the biggest thing, I guess, either piece of advice or little memento you could offer them to help ease their career? What little gem could you pass along to them?
Know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Find your worth.
Yep.
Great. Now put your head down and do the work. And everything else will fall into place.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen next year.
Yep.
Next month, you never know.
Yep.
But what I can tell you this.
Yep.
Is if you do the work, you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. It's worth it. It's worth it. People don't realize, people do. A lot of people unfortunately don't. I think living in a very much a social media forefront world, it's difficult. Even when you're not, my God, I have a mere like 3,000 followers. And even with people, and I've had people come and comment on my stuff or hit me in a DM with negative things. And I'm like, whoa. I'm horrible for the conflict. Horrible. I think I'm okay for it. And then when it actually hits me, I'm like, oh, I crumble. I'm like, oh, wait, okay. No, I actually was so not for that. And even if I feel like I'm, I know my worth or my value, it still takes a lot of practice too. So it's like practicing being kind to yourself and knowing that, you're not this like robot that even like once we have the mindset that you still won't be affected by the negative things that people are either going to say or do about you. And it's okay to feel them. It's just how you process them and work through them is a huge thing, because you don't want it to ruin you or trip you up too bad to let these people get control of you. Because it's like any regular bully. It's like once they know, they you, they're just going to keep going, and they've won. So you just got to really keep your camp tight, be around people that fuel you. I often say take really like good breaks from social media, because it can do so much good, but it's never like
3 months.
Yeah, did you?
Here for 3 months. And
it was the difference.
I went through this journey actually last summer. Or not last summer, the summer before last. Mm-hmm. I went on this journey with myself where it was like, okay, I know you feel like people have to know your characters. Mm-hmm. You have to know you. And so I walked away from all of that. And now, honestly, like I'll post on Instagram, I'll do a live, I'll respond to DMs, but because those people are not my family.
Yeah.
Those people are not my best friends.
Nope.
Who at the end of the day, like that's who knows me.
Right. And that's who matters. They don't matter, but these are the people that core about matter. And as far as if they're going to make past judgments on me, those are the opinions that matter. I've always said, if my mom approves, if my mom's not mad at what I'm doing, I think I'm doing okay.
Then you're fine.
Mom doesn't have anything to say about it, I'm all right.
And it's so like, I think for my age and being a young Black woman, I think people don't anticipate that there are certain things that I will be like, you can feel how you feel about it.
Yeah.
I run everything through my mom. My mom used to be my momager. Yep. Like she was my first manager.
Totally.
Before I had a whole team of people. And like I have a team of people now. That's insane.
I know.
It was like my mom who raised me, who gave me my morals, who spanked me if I did something bad, okay? If she says, you're probably all right. Yeah. I'm probably okay. That doesn't always make it okay.
Right. Oh, no, like a lesson or two. Oh my God.
It's just like, it's like,
Set me straight. They keep you grounded. It's like those
you
are the
really
people that are
do.
really going to center you because I mean, I remember I took a year, God, when I went and I first started becoming a makeup artist, I think I was young as well. I was like 18 when I graduated school from makeup artistry, whatever. And then I've been working since I was 19. And I was moving in a lot of ways. And my mom was always like, okay, but make sure all these things about
Right.
carrying myself on a job. And I was like, listen, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. And I have to make them, but I'm also always gonna come back to you at the end of the day and making sure like sketchy scenarios or just that I'm moving in a sound way, that I'm not going to just go down this really wrong path because I could, because mind you, also, I mean, I'm sure people hate to talk about it, but on both ends, crew and cast, we live in an entertainment business.
Right.
And I don't care how young you are or not, there is partying, there is tantalizing opportunities, there
So much partying. What the? I
honey,
talk about
party.
what the fuck?
Especially when we're young and we're just like here because we love it. And you're not really in that.
It's so accessible.
Yeah, it's
so accessible.
And it's an issue. I always say too, honestly, when people are young, my friend had brought this up to me, so I will not take full credit for the idea. But she's like, you know how like you had said, you have a team, you have managers, you have whomever. I'm like, I feel like any person that's really trying to dive into this business, a part of that team should 100% be a therapist or some sort of like mental health supervisor to help be like, hey, some sobriety coach, because you just hear it all too often. People getting in the mix or getting substance abuse or addicted to things because of the environment is very conducive to fueling that.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate. So then you're like, okay, but and you gotta have the people close to you to remind you, like, oh, whoa. Yes, we're young. Yeah, I want to go drink and get drunk, and yes, I want to learn things and experiment. But
it's gonna happen. But
line where you have to be extremely careful. And I know people that again, you don't have solid people around you, or friends or family. You have a lot of pressure to think you have to do certain things to fit in or keep getting hired or get the gig and be a part of that community when it's like the largest form of peer pressure on like a very escalated scale. So,
I think besides working in finance, because working in finance has a lot of, I mean, we saw it in freaking Wolf of Wall Street, right? Where it's like, they have that world, they got that on the world.
Right.
And it's like, it's so, when you are even, and this is for, like you said, crew and artists too, like, if you think about it, if you, okay, let's say a week, 14-day period, right? If I'm on Broadway and I do 8 shows a week, and 6 of those 8 shows, I have a friend coming, so we go to Glass House after, but then I have a press event on Saturday after a show with an open bar, and then I have brunch on Sunday. Can get accustomed to a routine.
Yes.
Which I've seen it on like the short end of the spectrum, and then I work with some people who are on the extreme end of the spectrum, where they gotta like do this to like make it through the day. 100%. And it's like,
it's a scary part because again, our industry, for those that when you're really in it, and seriously, when you're working, I will never ever make it seem like it's not easy. These are grueling hours. It's taxing depending on the role and what you have to be put through, the environments, the climate. There's so many elements as to why it's not just, I'm not just standing in front of a camera and reciting lines. There's a lot to it. And there's a lot behind it. So like you're saying, it's like when you're tired, you're overrun, you need the energy to keep going. Just like how people, when they're in the workout community, it's like fitness, they have supplements, they have things to boost them, they have steroids, and NFL, like everyone has that vice. And it's being so grounded to realize with anything in life, finding balance and also taking care of your body in the most healthiest ways and balance. Yes, I can indulge a bit with some extracurriculars, but have yourself balanced and in a very close kept camp so you know better as to where you're not going to push the limit and you're not going to affect the work. At the end of the day, first and foremost, we're all here because of this. You don't want it to get ruined because of all the side fun things, and that's in the background.
And like, look, have fun. I love going to a party. I love to get myself an old fashioned and have,
celebrating, we work.
That's fine, but all good things in moderation.
Yes. Moderation. The biggest, please. Yes. And I agree. I just think young, you'll get tripped up.
Especially young people.
Yeah. Be careful because it's just, it seems appeasing and it seems like that's the route to take sometimes to fit in, or that like we said, the intimidation factor can be there, but just know it's never going to be worth it at the end of the day to take that route first and foremost. Like you had said, in everything in moderation. So be wise.
I want to make this point to young people.
Yes, please.
We are in a time where everything is accessible to us. We are also in a time where young people, their pay percentages have gone up in the last 5 years. To where these young people, because we have the Riverdales and all of these shows where it's like you've got these young 19, 20 somethings playing a lot of these roles. Because it used to be on the audition form, can play 18, 19, 20.
It was not actually 18, 19, 20, which is crazy. Yeah.
We're now in a world where I'm playing a 15-year-old. In the movie, I play a 15 to 43-year-old.
Right.
And I was 20. And it's like what you have to do for yourself, what I beckon that you do for yourself. All the things that Rachel and I literally just talked about.
Yeah.
But also, you have to be able to call yourself out. Because while you have an incredible team of people and people who love you, the best thing you can do for yourself is hold yourself accountable.
Yes, Hailey.
And you just don't. I have young friends who are like younger than me who are dealing with addiction
100%.
and mental health stuff, and accountability is the first step in all of that. Yes. And so, just holding yourself accountable in day to day. I like to say, like, ooh, somebody called me that I really care about a couple days ago, and I haven't even sent them a text to say, hey, I saw that you called. I got wrapped up in da-da-da-da-da, but like, I will call you back. And then you have to call them back.
Right.
When someone does something for you, say thank you. Yeah. Because they didn't have to do that.
Right.
The world does not revolve around you.
Yes. Yep. Because it can feel like it when you're hot and young, baby, and you're making that money.
Yes. It's like, I mean, I even had a period, and that's like, I had a period of time in between Once on This Island and Respect, where it was like, nobody was interested in me or what I was doing. And I went through this identity crisis of like, oh my God, I'm not, well, I'm important, but I'm important.
Right.
And?
Yeah.
So it's like, now I know, like, when I'm in between things, like, I'm like, you know what? Go take care of you. I have a therapist that I talk to.
We love it.
We love therapists. I got a dog. I didn't realize how much Pumpkin was going to add to my life.
Animals aid so much, just soothing, self-care. Oh my God, they're just so nurturing.
Like, I was crying about something stupid the other day, and she was just sitting there like, I love you.
Girl.
Like, it's just like, oh my God.
Like, and you don't say a damn thing, but I know you know.
Yeah, like dogs know. Like, there's a ghost in my apartment, I'm pretty sure, and like she keeps him like in check. I know it's a man.
My heart.
But it's like, she's just like, you stay over there. And I also just watched all the Insidious movies.
Oh, girl, you can't. Not at home alone when we're chilling, like in this quarantine. I'd be
in the dark.
No, don't do it to yourself.
No, now I'm like,
you're just talking about the accountability.
The accountability of it is like, okay, now I'm up until 3 a.m. because I think someone's gonna come and kill me.
Have an addiction to being afraid.
Right. It's just like, but it's you have to hold yourself accountable.
1,000.
Be honest with yourself.
Yes.
That's another thing. You're gonna hear a lot of yes. Woo, and you're gonna hear a lot of well, of course you're, and it's like
right here, straight to the ego, straight to my head. And it's hard, and that's the other thing. I'll give people grace because listen, if I'm getting told, especially at a young age where essentially I'm a sponge and I'm absorbing all these things myself as I'm trying to figure out who I am, and I'm getting told every damn day that I'm a star and I'm perfect, I'm amazing, I am worthy. And these are all wonderful things. Yes to validation and worth and all of that. But again, you have to balance it with something, because then boom goes your ego, and then bam goes down grounding and integrity, all that. So you're just like, oh my God. Right. So it's like finding a way to, like you said, accountability, keeping myself in check, making sure you do keep people around you that are like, you're cute and all, but get it together. And I love that, because my family is always like, I'll be like, guys, I did this sick gig, and they're like, great, I'm busy, and I'm like, okay, shut it down.
I mean, I have an uncle, my Uncle Tom will be like, who do you think you are?
Yes.
And half the time he's joking, but I know there's a little bit of seriousness in, okay, I see you. I see you.
Yes.
I see you.
But it keeps me here. It keeps me all the way here, where I'm like, okay, be proud of moments, live your life, do your thing, feel yourself, but keep it locked in, humble and cute, and working hard, like you said. Hailey, you really you have jam-packed our hour. I cannot thank you. No,
I talk so much.
It is my all-time favorite, and you're just so grounded and knowledgeable and real, and I appreciate you offering your stories and insight. Truly, it's so needed. I think people are going to benefit a lot. I know I just did in the hour that we got to speak, so thank you for giving me your time, your space, your energy. I really appreciate you, my love.
Girl, of course. You know I'm here for you.
Goodness. Well, listen, I'm going to tag all your things below, guys. Follow Hailey. Keep up with her. She has some very fun, exciting things coming on in the next year or two. Stay tuned. Look out for her. She is more than up and coming, so keep an eye on this one. Yay, Hailey. Thank you. I will see you soon, baby. Thank you.
Yes. Goodbye.